G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing very well today. And welcome to Tea Time with T-Rex, which is sort of a video series that I'm going to try and do as like a monthly sort of channel update. I did attempt to do one about a year ago, and then I never did another one again, so that sort of was off to a great start. But this time I'm actually going to try and put some effort into it, so that you guys can stay up to date with what I'm doing, how everything's going, and what content you're going to expect from me in the future. Now, speaking of content, you're probably, well, I at least hope you would have noticed that we are not currently watching War Thunder gameplay. We are currently watching gameplay from 7 Days to Die. I'm currently playing in an online PvE server, which I've been having a lot of fun with. This game I thoroughly enjoy. I've had it for many, many years, and I'm actually thinking about doing like a single-player playthrough of this game, just as sort of something to break up the monotony of always just doing flight sims, because there are of course other games that I play, but I don't feature on the channel. So I was thinking of actually putting up a list at one point on the channel of all the major games I play, and sort of getting a vote from you guys to see, you know, if out of those games, which ones you'd be most looking to get content for. Be that Let's Plays, guides, tutorials, whatever, you know. I'm happy to be quite flexible, but I just need to mix it up. Like, constantly doing War Thunder content is going to lead to some burnout. It already has before, so I need to find ways to mix things up so that everything doesn't become stagnant. Speaking of stagnancy, my life is definitely not stagnant at the moment. It's incredibly busy, so I've recently started up at university. This is my first time going into any sort of study in almost 12 years, since essentially finishing high school. I did a couple of certificates and stuff through work, but that doesn't really count in my eyes as actual studying. So, yeah, I started that. This is the end of week 1 for me. Well, technically week 0 for me, but there's been a lot to take in. I've signed up for like lots of workshops and things like that to sort of get me up to speed with how to do like essays, reports, that sort of stuff, because, you know, ridiculously out of practice. I also found out that I'm the oldest person in my class, which is absolutely hilarious. I'm actually okay with that. But I was expecting there to at least be like 1 or 2 people older than me in my class, but it turns out no, I'm actually the oldest. But it's not a complaint, it's just an amusing observation. I wasn't expecting a lot of older people to be in my class anyway, because it is a class that's got a younger demographic. So for those of you that don't know, I'm doing basically a diploma in video game design and programming. So I haven't figured out exactly what my major is yet. You pick that in the second semester of this particular course. I'm probably leaning towards the major being in game design and the minor being in software programming, and then going back and doing a master's afterwards with more of a software programming focus after that. But yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. Up until a year ago, I just hadn't the confidence to do it, and so I just went on and carried on living my life, and essentially, looking back on it, feel like I've wasted about a decade of my 20s just, you know, floundering around, not actually pursuing my dreams. So I was like, right, turning 30 this year, you're going to university and you're going to do what you want. So here I am. Woo. So no doubt you'll see me slowly lose my sanity over the next couple of weeks as I begin to realize just how deep into this I actually am. But hey, it's going to be a really fun learning experience, and I'm thoroughly excited. I've had nothing but support from people on campus so far. I've already made some excellent friends, only in the space of a week, which is really reassuring, because it's been a while since I've had to kind of like, you know, go out and actively connect with people and try and make new friends and things like that. So, you know, my social skills are a wee bit on the rusty side, but thankfully, muscle memory kicked in. Oh, speaking of muscle memory, actually, I've also started going, like, well, last year I kicked off a fitness routine because I needed to get fitter. But this year I have started going to a gym, and now I'm actually seeing a personal trainer, so that's really good. I'm getting fitter, I'm feeling a lot better for it. My muscles are definitely letting me know that they're being used a lot more. So in terms of my fitness, weight isn't an issue with me. I'm pretty happy with my weight and my cardio. It's more so my physical strength, which has been leading to some back problems. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to gym, is to improve my overall muscle strength, particularly in my core, so that my back problems aren't as bad. Basically, you know, less risk of injury doing other sports and things like that. I also do a lot of cycling, and sometimes after a long cycling ride, my back is very twingy, and that can go back to having a poor core strength. So, yeah, working on that as well, which is nice. The gym I go to is literally down the road. It's only like 2-minute drive, like 10-minute walk away, so that's super convenient. And they're family run and they're reasonably priced, so it's not like one of those massive gyms where you feel completely overwhelmed. It's got a really nice environment in it. Now, focusing back on the gameplay on the screen here, so this is, as I said, 7 Days to Die, and it's on a PvE server, so it's like an Aussie server, so I get good ping. The base we're standing on is my base, which I have called the Temple, because it looks like an ancient Mayan temple, which was exactly the plan. It was inspired by Chichen Itza. I couldn't do an exact one-to-one replica of it, just due to the limitations of the game and how things are built. I've learned a lot from building this mega base, and I'm definitely going to be taking it into my next playthrough, which I said earlier on I'm hopefully going to record. We're on Blood Moon Night, as you can tell. The only drawback with the PvE server is because there's lots of people on it, the zombie horde gets spread out, so like this base is massively overkill for the amount of zombies that we're about to face, because there's only 3 of us. The plan is, once this base is complete, we're trying to get everyone on the server on a weekend to get them all on the base for the Blood Moon Night, hopefully not crash the server, and all of the zombies should be coming to the one place, which is going to look really, really, really cool. So super excited to see how that goes. It's still got a little bit of work to do. I'm still working on the outer perimeter. Some more stuff has been added to it since the recording of this particular video, so I'll definitely do like a finished product video to sort of just show it off and give you guys a walkthrough of what it is. The inside of the base is honestly pretty hollow. It's just there for structural reasons. It's actually built on the remains of an old base that I had started but then abandoned when I had the idea for this temple, so the inside looks a bit weird, but from the outside I think it looks pretty cool. Still on the topic of games, some other games I'm looking at featuring more on the channel moving into the year. I mean, this is time permitting with uni and everything, so I want to focus on War Thunder still, of course. I want to try and include some 7 Days to Die and maybe some Valheim, because I am a huge fan of survival craft games along with my flight sims. But on the flight sim side of things, I also want to get some DCS content going and some IL-2 content going. Not too sure if that'll be my primary content. It might just be, like one-off videos with a focus on particular aircraft, things like that. Now that I've got my Track IR set up, the amount of enjoyment I get out of those games has gone up significantly, because before, with the VR performance, it just wasn't doing it for me. Like, the games are hugely immersive in VR, but I just could not tolerate the drop in physical performance in the game and the lack of video quality, because you have to turn the graphics quite far down to run those games, particularly IL-2, to get a decent frame rate, at least with my system set up anyway. So yeah, looking forward to getting more to grips with those games, particularly DCS, because it is such a departure from War Thunder and IL-2, because, it mostly does focus on modern air combat as opposed to, like World War II stuff. So, lots of missiles, beyond visual range combat, that sort of stuff. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. I want to touch base when it comes to War Thunder for a moment as well. The new season of the Battle Pass has started, and we recently had the dev server for the upcoming update for the game as well. Wasn't able to get any really good content from the dev server, unfortunately. The game crashed a lot on me on that day, and I honestly just gave up out of frustration, which is a bit of a shame, but I had other stuff I had to do on that day, and I wasn't going to waste it just staring at error screens all day long. It definitely was a game client problem or a connection to the server issue, because I ran other games perfectly fine on the computer that day, so it's definitely a War Thunder problem. I'm not happy with the way they've implemented the new season of the Battle Pass. They've upped the difficulty dramatically with doing the Battle Pass, as I expected they would, but they've also made some of the challenges a bit of a shit thing, basically. Like, they're forcing people to have tier 3 in planes, tanks, and naval, and they're forcing people to actively use all 3 game modes, whereas before you could do most of it in 1 game mode or 2 at a stretch. As I said, the rewards have been increased, and there's also been a nerf to the booster rewards as well on that. So there's been a lot of feedback about that. And, on the forums, on Discord, on Reddit, overall, I think that the player base is not happy with the changes that have been put in for this current battle pass. Also, the vehicles on a whole, except for the end one, the Centurion, I personally find it pretty meh. Like, I don't feel as excited to do this battle pass as I did with the last one. So, we'll just have to see how we go. Like, I'm not going to actively try and complete it, I don't think. Like, you know, if I unlock the first couple of vehicles, that'd be great. But I'm not excited for the Russian vehicle, and as much as I want the Centurion at the end of it, I'm not going to waste my time, effort, and or money to get it because of just the way the battle pass has been set up, which is a shame because the first one was so good. But of course, Gaijin and the Infinite Wisdom don't like their players to have too much fun because then they won't spend money on the game out of frustration, will they? And that's where I'm feeling with the game anyway. Like, I'm feeling pretty frustrated with it at the moment. Like, there's still heaps of issues with Sim. Battle Pass Season 2 looks to already be a dumpster fire on arrival with the way that they've set it up, and the server stability recently has been absolutely atrocious. Like, so much packet loss, so much ping, just random game crashes. You know, they obviously need to work on their server infrastructure because the player count for War Thunder is significantly higher than it was when I first started playing, and it just feels like the player count's gone up, but the actual infrastructure for maintaining the game hasn't changed, and now it's just crumbling under such heavy load, which isn't good if they want to keep their player base growing. So that's something that they're going to have to focus on. It's also why I'm looking at diversifying the channel a bit, you know, putting other content in, not just for flight sims, but for other games and genres in general, because this channel is going to be my main hobby and slash income outside of being at university for the foreseeable, you know, at least for the next 3 years. And I want it to be a place that I enjoy making the content and I don't get burned out with a particular game. And I don't really want to be that guy that pigeonholes himself into one particular game the whole time that he's on YouTube. Like, I'd like to have a bit of variety, not only for my sake and my sanity, but also to give viewers something different to enjoy. I mean, yeah, you know, sometimes it's great if a YouTuber does the same game all the time and they're really well known for it, but I honestly don't know how they don't get burnt out by that. I need a bit of variety in my life. So that's definitely going to be something that's coming to the channel over the next weeks and months moving forward. In terms of content, there might be a bit of a dip over the next month or two as I get settled into university life and figure out what my study load is going to be, because that's going to determine how many hours a day I'm going to have free for gaming and for content, and then I've got to worry about, you know, all my university assignments and things like that. Obviously, you know, the education is going to come first, which is a no-brainer. But if there are any particular games or anything that you've heard me mention or anything that's similar in genre to any of the games that I've mentioned that you would like to maybe see on the channel as a once-off or as a series, I am open to suggestions. You know, Let's Play series and things like that, I'll try and make them a bit unique, but they are, of course, easier for me to do than my dedicated vehicle reviews and things like that that I'm doing on War Thunder at the moment. They may look relatively simple to do, but they are a relatively high time investment, especially when it comes to getting decent games, and then clipping those games down, because sometimes they're 3-hour games. I've then got to make the cinematics, I've got to make sure the replay system in War Thunder behaves, and I've then got to dub and audio it, and it usually takes a lot of takes, because although I'm a lot better with public speaking, I still stammer and stuff up my words a lot. So there's a fair amount of hours that goes into each of these videos that I'm currently putting out. And those hours free for those videos are being reduced at the moment because of my study load. So anyway, to diversify the channel and also keep up the level of content that I'm making, I'm definitely open to suggestions. But yeah, that's kind of just been an update on everything and what's been going on with me. I hope you guys are all doing well in this new year. Hopefully it's nowhere near as insane and crazy as 2020 was. I think that was a year we can all look to forget for the most part. There were some great benefits coming out of it as well, though, of course. Some good things did happen last year, but I feel a lot more optimistic going into this year, especially getting stuck in with my university degree. We'll see if I'm still keeping the same tune when it comes to my first exams. But yeah, no, if you think of anything, or if you just want to drop any suggestions or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below. But I'm going to wrap up this tea time video here, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.